So you are already in service, IRMS.
Yes, sir.
Tell me 3 important problems of railways.
So, 3 most important problem of railways are: first, because of cross subsidization, we are not able to improve our freight revenues because it is highly skewed towards the passenger fares. Secondly, there are some that might arise because of the restructuring of railways, as there is lack of clarity on the front. And third, we are building high speed railways, we want to build them, and we are facing some budgetary constraints, as we can put it.
Okay. So, do you see that this merger of railway budget with respect to the general budget which has happened, do you see it is helping railway or it has created further problems?
So certainly it's a nice step to improve the railways as a whole. Earlier we might face some departmental silos which led to delayed decision making, and hence new projects further take more time. But lately, after this restructuring, what we are hoping is that there might be much more departmental interactions and quick decision making, and railways can be able to deliver a lot.
How this separate budget means separate funds allocation. So railway had got more independence at that time. But now the independence of the railway is completely dependent upon the government, even for the budgetary clearance for even a small project. Isn't it hindering the railway prospects, or in some way it is helping?
So the need to have separate railway budget has eliminated, because earlier the practice which has continued through British times was because railway constitutes major component of the budget, and that is the reason it has been kept separated. After that, railway is not just it's just the one of the ministry which is having similar revenue source for the government, just like other ministries, and this is the reason it has been combined. And coming to the other answer, that has it hindered railways progress? I believe, sir, railway is the second highest allotted budget in budget 2023, and it certainly does not this is not hindering railways performance.
So why there is fund shortage?
So it is because railway is focusing upon creating capital assets, and the revenue of the railways is not much. It cannot create assets, and that is why government is allocating it. If we are able to generate revenue from the railways itself, the dependence on government budget can reduce.
So don't you think that rather than focusing upon railways, we should more focus upon waterways? Don't you think that let's say government of India is planning to allocate budget for railways? If it is doing it in waterways, it is cleaner, it is cheaper, it is having a good connectivity like railways also. So should it be diverted towards creation of waterways?
So I think that instead of diverting, diversification of multimodal connectivity should be the way forward. And certainly, so after National Waterways Act, we are developing more national waterways, and it is much more cheaper as well as cleaner. At the same time, we have huge infrastructure of railways which we can use so that our goods can attain competitiveness in the market, because the whole freight movement, it can be shared between waterways and railways.
So can this waterways be competitive with railways, or it's a complementary to railways?
So it's complementary to railways. By PM Gati Shakti mission, we are aiming at multimodal connectivity, and in the end, roadways, waterways, railways, they both complement each other. And the product out of it would be our enhanced logistic, like our logistic cost will be much reduced, and this is the aim.
Alright, wonderful. So what is the notion of secularism? Do you understand in India? How do you perceive Indian secularism?
Indian secularism stands for that we have equal respect towards all religion. At the same time, we are not disfavoring any religion when it comes with like the separation between the state and the religions of this country.
So, do you see any challenges with respect to present day secularism?
So, the challenges with respect to the present day secularism can be seen in a way that like certain section of society might feel that the rights of their religion might not be talked about much or not gain that presence in the society. But with respect to the government stance, it is clearly established that it is all respect to the religion.
Alright. So, tomorrow we are going to have the Ram Mandir celebration. Do you think the national holiday declaration and making it such a huge hype, isn't it giving threat to the minority communities in India? Do you see that this is the threat which can be perceived by the minority communities?
So I consider that it is not a threat to the minority communities. At the same time, the hype which is created after the inauguration of Ram Mandir, in ancient history we have seen that temples are not just a place of worship, rather they are developed as an institution in itself, which attracts more economic opportunities in the region, and it can actually serve as a vehicle of socio-economic development. And in that scenario, this project of such huge scale will be able to transform Ayodhya into something big in coming future. And the fears of minorities, they are they should be addressed well through social media campaigns, because it is much more in news through the social media platforms. As such, I don't feel that there is any need to fear.
There is no need to fear. Yes, wonderful. Okay, so now tell me this thing that Atmanirbhar Bharat. Do you see this? What is the present status of Atmanirbhar Bharat? You first tell this.
Atmanirbhar Bharat is the self-reliant India, and the present status we can see the type of schemes which we have put forward during COVID period and the achievement which we have derived out of that. So we have self-reliant on the COVID vaccines. First of all, we have exported it to other countries. At the same time, through our production-linked incentive scheme, we have tried to transform our manufacturing sector. Also, so India is emerging in the emerging technologies field, such as quantum computing missions and AI missions. And through these missions, we are trying to be self-reliant on the emerging tech, which can be a pathway towards Industrial Revolution 5.0. So through these little steps, India is reducing its dependence upon its foreign countries and becoming...
So in semiconductor also, India is having production-linked incentive scheme. Do you know that?
So in semiconductors, it is design-linked incentive scheme, where we are focusing on the design part of the semiconductor fabrication units. And recently, Foxconn has tied up with indigenous HCL to assemble the semiconductor part.
So don't you think that India's strategy to focus upon semiconductor is a backward-looking kind of a strategy? Why? Because India is good in this services, and in semiconductor market, the United States, Hong Kong, Vietnam, Japan, these markets have already matured. So shouldn't India focus more upon the IT sector development than that of this manufacturing of semiconductors?
So India has leverage in services sector, which is going to be an asset for semiconductors manufacturing. At the same time, these countries have matured enough, USA, Taiwan for example, but semiconductor is also an evolving stream where we can experiment with more smaller components and have a very layered one as a complex semiconductor unit. As of now, India can focus on creating complex semiconductors because of its design engineers and the foreign expertise. We can leverage it so that we can be also way ahead in semiconductors, but at the same time we should not lose this trail.
But let's talk about Intel, Apple, or any other semiconductor industry which is there in the United States. They have done a lot of research. They have got the leverage of doing the research, and their designs are patented. India will have to start from the scratch. So how do you think that India is going to integrate herself in the global supply chain of semiconductor, even by focusing the design linked incentive or production linked incentive with respect to semiconductor?
So it is going to be a tough task to have a competition with well-established companies like Intel. But since semiconductors are an integral part of electronics manufacturing and India is heavily dependent on electronics imports from China, so this is a natural step for India to start by taking a little step and initially tie up with foreign companies to have an assembled part, and later on to develop on its indigenous capabilities and have a good hold in semiconductor industry.
In which all markets India can focus upon? Let's say India develops certain semiconductor, specializations. Which all markets India should focus upon?
So with respect to semiconductors, so I have to read about it.
All right. So, do you see what is the importance of Southeast Asia for India?
So Southeast Asia is in our immediate neighborhood, and these countries can be we have ancient.
Are they in immediate neighborhood?
So
which all countries from Southeast Asia will be sharing the boundary with India?
So no country. So maritime border, if I talk about, then there are countries like Thailand, which shares border with India.
Is it so?
So I may be wrong here. I have to see the.
It's only Myanmar.
Myanmar, sure, sir.
Which shares the border, and they will be considered as the second line of neighbors, not just the first line of neighbors. We have got neighborhood first approach, which is with respect to the territorial neighbors as well as maritime neighbors. But again, Southeast Asia will be considered as the Southeast Asia or Central Asia or West Asia will be the second line of neighborhood which will be there. So that's the idea. Alright, so how Southeast Asia is important?
So as you said that they are the second line of neighbors. So Southeast Asia, we have ancient links with that region, and therefore we have some cultural ties as well which exist there. They can serve as a good market for Indian products, economic wise, and although we have signed FTA agreements with the Asian countries, but it has not benefited towards India's favor.
What are FTA? Do we have FTA in goods and services or only in goods?
So I have to check that with respect to Asian.
Alright, it's in goods and services both.
Oh.
Alright, so go ahead. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Alright, so do you think Indian Ocean region as a region of conflict or a region of stability?
So lately it has been emerging as a contentious region between powers. For example, China is also eyeing upon this region, and although this region has influence of sphere is lied towards India only, but in future we have seen that some conflicts which are emerging, such as Red Sea conflict, which is extending towards Indian Ocean, and so these small events which can reduce the stability of Indian Ocean region.
Alright. So your hobby is TT.
Yes, sir.
Name 3 male players and 3 female players of TT.
Sure, sir. So 3 female players. One is very famous Manika Batra. Second is Sudipta Mukherjee, and third is I'm forgetting her name. And in boys player, males player, one is Sharad Kamal, which is the celebrated one, and I'm unable to recall the second person.
Right. So, do you play TT or in the preparation of UPSC? You have not played since long.
So I try to play table tennis, not on the regular basis, but in preparation also I tried playing it. And also I have been the national player of table tennis during my school years and continued the sport throughout college.
Wonderful. Okay. So Saloni, your interview is over.
Thank you, sir.
How did you feel? How was your interview?
So, the energy which I have